Is anyone there? Silence. That's all that came back as the answer. Okay. Sad Dave CG. I needed to sit down. The tiredness and loss of blood was too much. I just needed to rest. Well, I needed to get back, but I wanted to rest. Is he sitting or standing or unzipping his pants?
I can't believe we've only been reading this for 3 hours today.
Not 3 hours yet. We're working on it.
Isn't that's even worse. I looked at my clock fully expecting it to be 7 p.m.
No. Yeah, we haven't reached 3 hours yet. We started a bit later than noon. And then there was the break in the middle and so on. Surprised this gets a CG of all things. I needed to sit down. The tiredness and loss of blood was too much. I just needed to rest, right? Reaching into my pocket, I pulled out the photo again. Love you. The words weren't for me, but they were what I wanted to hear. They were what I wanted to say. I don't think you get to keep reusing this beat. You already did this. You could have at least skipped the middle one and used it now, after Dad appeared, because this at least means more, but you already used this beat earlier when he went back to the I love you and how it's not for him. I love you so, so much. Yeah, pro tip, delete the other version of that scene that had no reason to come up again. The breath caught in my chest and I started to cry. I didn't bother to wipe them away. Instead, thinking about my friends, my family, anyone and everyone important to me. He said he doesn't bother to wipe them away, but the tears weren't established so grammatically, so it's just confusing. Like, it's not that confusing, I obviously understand, but that's just not how you... That's written wrong. I knew what was coming, and while I wasn't ready, I had accepted it. I sat there, waiting. Any moment now, something would happen. I'd either slip away, or something else would happen to make me question if I hadn't already passed on. What a bizarre level of certainty about... I'm not even sure what. Huh?
Dave.
He reached out for me and edged forward as if he was scared I'd break. I could see it in his eyes. Even in the dark, he was terrified. I'm okay.
No, you're not.
I'll be fine, really. I tried to flash him a smile, but didn't come. Instead, just a painted grimace that caused him to reach out and cut my head. I could feel him. He was warm, even against the bitter cold of the night.
Can you stand?
Shaking my head, carefully he picked me up. It only made me cry and cling on tight, having felt that I had finally been saved. Warm. He was warm. I thought...
I thought I wouldn't find you.
Who is this actually? But you did.
Yeah.
Can I tell if it's Oz or if it's supposed to be your route character? He had me against his back and carried me, each step careful, but at the same time I could tell he was trying to hurry. It's probably Oz because half the route characters can't carry you. Are we going back to the mansion?
Yeah, just keep talking to me.
What about?
Anything, please. Dave, just keep talking. Tell me about your boyfriend.
My boyfriend? You're gonna laugh, probably, but it's Tyson. He said nothing, but I could feel his grip under me tighten slightly. It's funny, I never thought it'd happen, but I think I'm happy. Insane thing to hear him say at this point in the narrative. Not even because of all the murder, but because, like, things have not been good.
You think?
I'm happy. I love him.
He loves you too.
It's weird though, like, being brothers, but also not. I'm begging you to stop reminding us of that.
Don't worry about it.
I miss him.
He misses you too, Dave.
I just hope that sentence was caught in my throat. I had to see him again. I just had to.
You just hope that... That what?
Huh?
You just hope.
Oh, I don't really,
Come on, Dave, focus. You don't need a break, do you? I'm good to keep carrying you.
maybe a small one. My whole body just feels sore. They're weirdly never describing him like somebody who's been stabbed. Oh, are you sore, Dave? With your stab wound? He set me down gently and lay me back against a tree. The moment I could feel the ground under me, I sighed and looked up at my dad. Thanks for coming to save me.
Couldn't leave you out there, Dave.
Still, I never thought I'd see you again. It's, you know... Breathing was becoming more difficult, and I reached out for him. Funny?
Dave.
I'm just so glad you came, Dad. He said nothing.
Well, you wouldn't have been born otherwise, son.
Splurt, splurt. He said nothing, but I could tell his expression went grim. Dad?
Dave,
This is his grim face. What?
I'm not Dad.
What? My eyes slowly adjusted and I saw Tyson.
Another off-model Tyson.
None of the Tyson drawings agree with each other on what Tyson looks like. It's wild. I saw Tyson. He was crying. He was... Dave, I'm here. Ty, I couldn't leave you out there. I couldn't just wait. Thank you. You waited so long. Thank you, Ty. Just hold on a little longer, all right? We're almost back. Ty, I saw Dad. I thought he was... I know, Dave. It's all right. I'm sorry. Why the fuck are you apologizing? I'm sorry I didn't find you sooner. I'm just happy that... what? I didn't get left behind. I'd never leave you behind. Not now. Not before. Not ever. You saved me from the cold, so I was gonna do the same. Fuck what Osmond said. Fuck what anyone else said. I love you that damn much. Yay. So I think it's always Tyson and not a Route character because Tyson's the specific character that is the strange duplicate saver person in Route B, no matter who you're with. And also Roswell, and I'm pretty sure that Roswell and Orlando can't carry you. Unless they actually were going to write a different scene for them. So I'm going to pick you up and take you back to the mansion, alright? We're going to patch you up and get you home, okay? Okay. Don't you dare give up just yet. You can give up the moment we're there. Now is not the time to be giving up, Dave. Hi. Just a little longer, Dave. That's all we need. Please? Dave?
He'll be
Something is
back
up.
soon.
Easy for you to say. Both of them went in there and we've seen neither. It's like you're not even worried.
Orlando looks so different that I legit looked at the screen and did not know who that was.
Sal looks way smaller than normal.
He does.
There's a lot that looks a little off. Also, I think we're shifting perspective. I'm wondering if we're doing a thing where Dave died and now we're playing and we're like experiencing the route from everyone else's perspective. This does imply that Oz being alive is so detrimental to everything that you literally die as Dave if Oswin's alive. As far as I can tell.
Of course I'm worried. There's nothing more we can do, is there?
Go in there ourselves? Dave's out there. We're just meant to sit and wait? That's why Dean and Tyson went out.
It's why Dean went out. Tyson just went out on his own because he's stubborn.
It's so nice that Tyson fits in with everybody now. Freaking, for some reason, Tyson's getting nagged about his intentions to save Dave somehow. But he was right. Go on, say I'm wrong.
You're not wrong. But I didn't want to run the risk of getting hurt knowing that it'd upset Dave even more.
What?
No buts. We just have to have faith that we'll see one of them soon.
We've heard nothing from Haas, Benson, or Oswin?
Not since you asked me 5 minutes ago.
But something could have changed.
Then go inside and find out. I imagine they're still going over a plan to get everyone out safely.
Literally, what have they done for the last 24 hours?
I don't
have no concept of what that could be possibly be the explanation.
I'm still just trying to process what Memphis hoped to achieve by doing this.
No, yeah, I have no idea why he let Oz go when that's his person he needs.
I don't understand why he let Oz go, and I don't understand why he stabbed Dave and then was like, go back and get him. I'm tired of waiting. Maybe you'll die.
Yeah,
like,
no.
All three of those statements are mutually exclusive.
None of it adds up. None of it makes any sense. They still don't know whether or not the people are even on the mountain at all because they didn't guard the one way on and off. They went somewhere else for no reason to hang out and kept splitting up and arguing. The most realistic thing about all of this is that somehow the entire main cast spent an entire 24 hours quote unquote planning and doing nothing, because that's what they've done the whole game so far. So I guess that's consistent writing. But yeah, just no one has done anything for the last day in the entire cast, seemingly. They all just stood around, and even their own interpretations of each other are based on the insane idea that the other people might behave like people, which is proven wrong. So like, they're like, fuck, they got off the mountain already, because that's what a sane person might have done. But no, they all just stood around. All of them are just standing there doing nothing, because no one I've never seen a narrative where no one has agency.
Yeah.
But that's what we've reached. I don't understand. And it's also like, knowing this game and how quote-unquote plans have worked so far, their 24 hours of planning will also not amount to anything. Like, they'll just do nothing. Because in Route B, they planned for so long about what to do when Memphis arrived and still did nothing. And then Orlando, like, accidentally won, basically, through unplanned nothing. It's just insane. We know the exit.
And what about Oswin? We just leave him behind to make Benson sad? Be sad forever.
What a sentence. That would make Benson sad. Even Memphis took for granted the idea that they would try to evacuate the kids, and not even they can consider that idea. They're so broken. Yes?
Orlando.
People being sad is bad. You're right. Sorry.
Before you know it, we'll have news. Wait, do you hear that?
Is it Dean? Tyson?
I'm not. Oh no.
No. No, this can't be happening. No. No.
What if Dave dies and then this is the good ending that everyone likes?
Yay!
What if he's just I'm dead?
I don't. Orlando had like a psychic reaction to this where he instantly knew Dave was dead based on somebody coming out of the tree line carrying Dave, which is like just a level of immediate understanding that doesn't make sense to me. It's also like I felt silly being like, is this the Dumbledore scene from Harry Potter where they're at the train station? Because that kept happening in movies for a little while around then. This weird thing where the paternal figure would show up and almost like ask the protagonist if they want to give up or not. But now it's Hagrid carrying Dave back to Hogwarts and everyone seeing that Harry is dead. And like I feel like we're just repeating the same scene. Like, this is why everyone stayed. And then what are we gonna do? The hero's dead. Now here come, except he's not heroic at all. So it's very strange. No, I tried. I really tried.
For what it's worth, I'm sorry. I'll take full responsibility for this, but I had to see. I underestimated, what I mean is... I can't believe that it's over, though. The experiment failed and it's my fault. I can't believe we're having this conversation again. This is an almost exact repeat.
Yeah. It's also just, like, not where this CG takes place.
Yeah.
Isn't this the window upstairs?
I don't know or care. The experiment failed, and it's my fault. Hopefully next time will be better. Not that it helps now. It's never easy, though. It's never easy to have to tell you that I failed. Another countless amount of years ahead of me before another attempt, feeling I've let you down. Sometimes I wonder if it's been worth it, seeing you like this. Sometimes I wonder if there just wasn't an easy way out, but yet again, we're just left with this. Not that you can remember it as well as I can. Who is he talking to? Whose perspective is this? What is happening? Please say something, anything. Is there anything I can say or do? Or is it better that I just... Sorry. Just promise me that on the next time around, you won't remember this. Promise me that you'll leave it to me to stop this mistake from happening twice. Is that okay, Master?
Oh my god.
Wow.
Roswell was the master. We never guessed this.
We never guessed this in literally the first episode. Literally the moment he was introduced. I hate this game. He's also doing a pose from something. This is like a pose from a thing.
Is it? I don't know.
Yeah, like this is like it's like a specific reference to a thing, but I can't remember what it is. I want to say maybe Danganronpa, but I'm not. God, what is this?
I'm just so taken aback that the route ends this way, because Route A is just worse than Route B then. Like, this didn't... Dave didn't, like, die in a struggle or anything. There was the surprise twist that he was the hostage happened hours ago, and from our perspective, and a day ago from their perspective, and then everyone just sat around. And then after they ignored the hostage situation for a full day, they're like, "Oh, he's been stabbed. Oh no!" And is that it? Just ends here? Is it ending? Like, what? That's the culmination of your story? Is Dave just gets stabbed? The end. Moving on.
Yeah. I don't really know.
Like, obviously, it's you say, but you have to go get the true ending to have like an ending happen. But the idea that like, even though insane things happen, like the action was badly written and Memphis died off camera to Orlando somehow. At least the ending B, which we thought we were like we clung for so long for months to the hope that ending B was the bad route because of how bad it was, and its ending was very bad. But it does like lead to most of the cast of characters fighting various people from Memphis's group and struggling, and like the house is burning and you fall from this floor to that floor and this character dies and that character dies, and like you deal with Dom and Jack, and like it gestured at having an ending. Does route A just end with Memphis getting bored and stabbing Dave and then everyone cries in a bunch of CGs, and then well, go farm the true ending by playing every route in order to get a conclusion? Because who would hit this ending and be like, wow, I better invest way more time into getting the true ending. That'll probably be satisfying.
This is dumb.
You
know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. I'm genuinely like shocked.
Yeah.
Like, I keep thinking I'm calibrated now for what kind of bad this is, and we have other endings to go off of. Yeah. So this is happening, and I'm like, wait, are you serious? I'm still shocked. It surprised me again, because like maybe this is a fake out and Dave gets back up, but it genuinely seems like we're about to hit the end, and I like, especially because the perspective swap, and even the omnipotent rat machine guy is saying, "Whoops, my bad." Yeah, that was a terrible ending.
Is it ending, or are we going to be stuck in this for 6 more days?
Let's find out.
Okay. Okay.
That's not the tone of that.
It is now. I can't take it seriously. Please, God.
That day was unlike anything I'd ever experienced. Nope. Oh, it's you.
Incorrect.
You get to narrate the rest of the game.
That day was unlike anything I'd ever experienced. The pain, the guilt, everything hitting me all at once. After so long of everything being planned out to prevent just that.
You didn't even try. You didn't do anything.
Dave was dead. The memory of it was fuzzy. What happened next? Going downstairs, seeing him limp in Tyson's arms, Orlando wailing into the night sky. I know it means Orlando crying, but I'm imagining Orlando just windmilling his arms like he's punching the sky. It was awful. We were so busy thinking about every other way that it could have gone bad, and the simplest outcome was what happened. But to make matters worse, I couldn't remember the details. What other bits and pieces were left were up to Thanatos to remember. When does it end? Can I please die? Can I actually die? I'm gonna eat a Tide Pod. It all came back to that one memory I had. A strong memory from a long time ago. And I only know it as one because Thanatos told me. So not a very strong memory.
Yeah, what? A strong memory, but you don't know it's a...
The worst part is, I could still feel the fire prickling at my skin and fur. I could smell the smog and ash clogging my nose and making it hard to breathe. I could hear Tyson screaming up above, and I could taste blood in my mouth from where I'd coughed it up. Amidst the heat and the pain, I knew where I was. I just didn't know why.
Thanatos was there, but... Are you there? Hypnos? He wasn't talkative. He wasn't really much of anything back then, apparently. Just watching, waiting, listening.
This is supposed to be playing out like a big reveal, and it's playing out like I'm fucking exhausted.
Yeah, it's also just, it's not even worth litigating the Hypnos versus Thanatos thing.
No,
just having one character call him Thanatos, then Hypnos back to back. I'm like, but you're the same character, addressing the same character. Why did you call them two different things?
I think I'm the last one alive. As much as the smog made it hard to breathe, I was able to laugh. A cold and bitter laugh despite the fire raging in the house. It was a cruel reality that had landed us here. Events far outside our control. Hey, did you know this was gonna happen? He didn't give anything away, instead just watching still. I need a favor, please. He was listening. If I die, when I die, if you can save them, if you can save my friends. My vision was fading fast, but pleading for salvation from a robotic rat was all I had left. I'm at rock bottom, Dave. If not now, then for some time later. I knew what he was, and what he was meant to do. So if there was any chance, no matter how small, I had to gamble on it in hopes that things wouldn't turn out this way. Hypnos, despite everyone else dying, you're going to live on, aren't you? You're not going to die. You're just going to. He came closer. I assumed it was a show of affection, that he knew what was happening.
I don't understand why Oswin doesn't know who his master is. I don't understand.
You should have been called Thanatos.
Because he's only pretend smart. What? Why?
Thanatos. He mimicked my voice back at me, the slight incline of his head gesturing that he parroted it back as a question. A god of death, not sleep, but if you can't die, then... I am a god of death. So please, Thanatos.
Gods of death like
This
apples?
is just like, it's so, like narrative is about themes. So like having themes and speaking thematically and symbolically is like just a thing that happens in narrative that like has meaning in a way that it doesn't sound cringe in real life when it happens, right? Like characters talk very poetically, but like being on your deathbed, looking at a rat on the floor, being like, I should have named you Thanatos instead of Hypnos because you're a god of death. Because of all the dying is like, oh my fucking god. Holy shit. Just be normal. Stop being cringe.
It also just doesn't scan. Because we don't call him Hypnos.
Yeah,
So
it makes no difference if his name is
there's
Hypnos turning to Thanatos.
Well, it's just, yeah, it's like we don't call him Hypnos. There's no series of flashbacks where he's Hypnos. We vaguely heard once maybe that he might have been called Hypnos once. So this name change doesn't symbolize anything because we didn't experience the status quo that's being changed. So it's just a very strange note in general to include.
Yeah.
Bloop, 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 bloop.
Save my friends. I opened my eyes slowly. My head was hurting.
So, good morning.
Thanatos, I'm not getting up.
But Roswell, it's time to get up.
He's also not talking in caps now?
Yeah, he's not talking in caps or with a robot voice.
What does that even mean?
I could hear him scrambling from the floor up to the top of the bed, and I rolled over in an attempt to ignore him.
Didn't Thanatos have trouble getting on top of the beds before and made a big deal out of it and had Dave pick him up like a little baby?
I don't remember. I think it was more that he couldn't... He is like just kind of lazy and wants to be carried places, but also he can't go through... I think he can't go through doors.
I'm baby Dave.
He's getting locked inside of rooms.
I'm not ready to be awake yet.
Sure you are.
What day is it?
Good question. Let me check.
Why is he not speaking in caps?
I could hear the murmuring of him checking his memory for a few seconds before proudly declaring the answer.
By how we've been measuring, this is the 23rd day of this iteration's experiment. Yeah, it's to show us that he's like a different character right now. That's why he also has a different color. Because it's like, this is Thanatos before being Joker-fied.
It's weird.
He is yet to become the Jonkler.
Because he's in the loop still. He's still in whatever this is. It's weird.
Yeah, but this is like early in the loop, I think. Right? Because it's day 23 asterisk.
Yeah.
So it's like a previous day 23, I think.
So yesterday...
Oh yeah, I totally knocked you and Dave out.
Why?
I thought it'd be funny.
Yeah, hilarious.
Oh, lighten up. You were fine. Dave's probably fine.
What do you mean, probably? Has he not woken up since?
No.
I swear if you've done something to him.
That'd get us nowhere. You know I wouldn't. On purpose, anyway. Do you remember what happened after I put you under yesterday?
More or less, I think.
Tell me.
I woke up mid-afternoon, sometime before dinner. Osmond was here, injected me with something, and I felt a little better.
What else?
Wait, so it's like really yesterday?
I guess so.
Like not just like the abstract concept of many
that
loops
it's not
ago
pre-Joker-fied.
that it happened to be a 23.
See,
Yeah,
I was under the impression that we were going back
as far as I can tell,
to
we
the
literally
origin.
just rewinded yesterday, so I guess we're undoing Dave's bad end by having Roswell go back in time to change it. And
So the time
you're gonna be
loop
narrating
now
for way
is-
longer than you accounted for.
So the time loop also just functions differently in this route, and we get a perspective shift, and we're not using passwords. It's just
Yeah.
happening to us now. Why couldn't the whole game have been this?
At least it's not the... At least that wasn't the ending, I guess. But even then, it's like... What an incredibly lame last 24 hours for Dave. Like, it was just a bad story.
It's going to be incredible if the actual end of this story is like Dave doesn't do anything, doesn't even have agency, Roswell saves the day, and his plan is the one that comes to fruition.
Somebody else and just give up on Dave.
After all this time. What else?
It's just like in that other famous furry visual novel.
I slept for a little more. He gave me another dose, and honestly, I'm feeling pretty good at the moment, just waking up.
All right, good. So we know that's a way to get you up and going again. I think it's kind of incredible that if anyone had just checked up on Roswell, your sick and dying friend, in the morning, you would have found out that Thanatos is in fact, that Roswell is his master.
Just hanging out. Just vibing. He also,
all right, good. Oh, go on.
He's got he's got his Roswell exclusive voice.
All right, good. So we know that's a way to get you up and going again.
Hey, I need you to check something for me. It might take a little bit, but it's important.
What?
I need you to check your memories for when Dave dies again.
Because?
I resonated again somehow for some reason.
Well, don't look at me. I didn't do anything.
I know you didn't. I don't need you to explain it again either.
I'll explain it to Dave then. It's because the player has to hear it.
Is it happening to him as well?
I think so. Hard to say. But it's no problem. I can totally go check my memories for all that bad stuff. What are you going to do in the meantime?
Go back to sleep?
While I do all the work, fat chance I'm letting that happen.
What?
He kicked me lightly in an attempt to move me out of bed.
Move your ass. You know I can't move it myself, otherwise I would.
You're not my mom.
Or your dad.
Right, so
get up, please.
what's wrong with sleeping in a little longer? If I have to be up working on this experiment, then you do too. Thanatos, you don't even sleep.
I sleep enough.
Spoken like a true college student.
What?
Okay, cool.
Coming from the guy who doesn't know what that's like. I smirked, though I faded fast upon remembering why that was.
Oh, right, I'm dying. I forgot.
True. Sorry, I was on autopilot for a moment. It's fine. Do you know who else is awake?
Just us, Oswin and Benson. Everyone should be in their rooms if nothing has deviated from what's happened before.
All right. I kicked my feet out lightly from under the cupboard. To start to get up, pushing myself to a sit, and then rolling forward until my feet touched the carpet.
I like that he meticulously described standing up. Where are you going?
I have to go talk to go have a talk with Oswin. I'll be quick.
Fair enough. Let me know what happens with that, all right?
You're just going to stay here after all?
Well, if the bed is free, maybe I'll use it to get some sleep in.
I rolled my eyes as I changed out of my pajamas and into proper clothes. Please do a search for me. It's important.
Don't worry. I'll get it done after I get my voice set correctly for Dave.
He does have a fake voice for Dave.
What value does this have? Like, what? I'm not going to do a different voice. Fuck you. Fuck that.
Why does he have a separate voice just for Dave? Does it sound like a dumb robot voice for role-playing reasons? Does Dave respond differently to the dumb robot voice than Thanatos' real voice? I don't know what it's going for here.
You're really not letting up over that.
It's what Dave knows. If I did anything else, it'd just ruin the fun. I'm making it up as I go along.
You're weird.
It's just a character trait of Thanatos that whenever he goes around Dave, he does a dumb Batman voice. It's just fake the whole time. Why?
I think my head hurts. Have fun talking to Oswin then. Before you go, how's my voice? Sufficiently ominously robotic.
It's also like kind of annoying that like it's weird that he's like so weirdly low tech. Like he has to adjust his voice manually and he needs time to do it, according to what he said earlier. And then this search where he just checks what happens to Dave tomorrow. That's like a process that's gonna take ages, I guess. Like he's like weirdly shit.
His GPU is not very strong, so it takes a while to do the generated AI voice.
It's very unnecessary.
If you're gonna put a meta moment in your text where you go like, this is pointless, you know, then like maybe it's pointless and maybe it doesn't need to be in the game. I'll work on it. If I find out anything, I'll come find you. I had forgotten just how cold the house could be so early in the... Oh, this is Roswell. I keep thinking it's, what's new?
I'd forgotten just how cold the house could be so early in the morning. Many times in my childhood, I'd gotten up early and wandered around. Having the house to yourself would do that. No other kids around, no parents, though Benson and Oswin were close enough. Benson seemingly always watching, Oswin occasionally hovering off to the side as if I was some strange creature.
I mean, we kind of put together that Roswell had been here before, but like... It was one of those things that...
He just straight up grew up here. It's just...
Yeah, right. Straight up grew up here, was lying. This wasn't just a family friend. This wasn't like a weird thing that his parents did. He just straight up was lying the whole time.
Yeah. What throws me is just that it's just once again phrased really strangely. Like all of this is a hanger-on from the previous statement that all implies that this is why he knows it's cold here in the morning.
Yeah.
He's like, I know it's cold here in the morning because I was lonely as a kid. And I'm like, what? Everyone experiences this place in the morning, regardless of how much they hang out with people. The fuck are you talking about? What a strange. These thoughts are not connected. They're phrased like they're connected.
I need the comment section to immediately recognize how your tone of voice has changed the second you aren't the main person reading, as what you have been inflicting upon me for the past 130 hours is now inflicted upon you. And it's just incredible. There's just like an immediate melting that happens to a person.
I've been doing this the whole time.
Yeah, but you've been puppeted like Weekend at Bernie's by the text you've had to read the whole time.
I had to keep returning to a baseline where I read.
Yeah, so now you get to experience what I've been suffering through, which is...
and now you're not able to multitask.
And now
so you're forced to stare into the pink abyss.
I am very much multitasking right now, thank you. It's just incredible. It's just incredible. Yeah.
Even the hidden passages, I knew them all one of them.
There's 3 of them at least.
There is 3 of them at least.
Though knowing them all was not all that impressive when there were only the 3.
Oh, yeah.
The one here, the one in the basement, and the one just outside the kitchen. They all linked up anyway.
So really, there's just one. There's just one secret passage with 3 exits.
With the exception of this, the strange door that looked like what Thanatos had also existed in the library, but on different...
Wait, what? With the exception of this strange door that looked like what Thanatos had also existed in the library, but on different systems. That is like... That is remarkable. What is being said?
It's not just that it's astonishingly and impressively miswritten and broken and not conveying any thoughts. It's just a nightmare sentence. It's not just that, but also the fact that this is supposed to be like revelatory Roswell POV, so it might be some of the most important description in the entire game, and it's not written legibly.
I feel like I'm having a fucking stroke.
It's not throwaway dialogue about Dave having coffee. It's like,
oh my god,
the most important info stuff, and it's like this strange door that looked like what Thanatos had also existed in the library, but on different systems.
I'm like genuinely having difficulty parsing that. I just want to read it out loud again because it is so insane. The strange door that looked like what Thanatos had also existed in the library, but on different systems.
Uh-huh.
So I think it's saying the strange door that also existed in the library on different systems, but I don't know.
Does different systems is gay?
Yeah.
The rumor come out.
In the hot food, out eat the cold food. Like, it's like, why is... I can put together the like independent clauses that are just littered across the sentence. What I can't parse is how you make a grammar mistake that inserts Thanatos into the sentence.
I just...
It's just like I went to the Keith saw the park today, where it's like, why is Keith in this sentence? Why is Thanatos here?
Even if I try to parse it without Thanatos, like, okay, the strange door that looked like what also existed in the library, but on different systems, and it's like, the word existed is a really weird word to use.
Yes.
Because it feels like you're saying that this is a door that exists in 2 places at once, as opposed to that there's just another door like it somewhere. Which implies it's like a quantum door or some shit that's in 2 places in the same mansion.
This game is gonna break me, I think.
Yeah, no, it has.
I think I'm gonna lose my
You actually forgot how to walk like 4 months ago and haven't noticed yet.
Yeah.
Thankfully, the code to this door was easy enough.
I also just can't accept the logic in this mansion that there is a basement secret entrance, a kitchen secret entrance, and a library secret entrance on 3 different floors, and they all somehow meet up.
He climbs up the snake eater ladder in the middle of the chimney
Yeah,
in order to reach all the different levels.
At no point in any of the secret passages did they mention changing floors.
Yeah.
Which, one, like, the library, the secret library, the background chosen for it looks like the same shit that, like, Illusory Wall's avatar is from half the time. That fucking rat that he has a picture of on Steam. Like, it's like those, like, fucking... those paintings that are called, like, the prison or whatever. That is these massive scale super rooms. So, like, the library looks massive. So I could accept all these places. I can't accept where it is in the building, because I don't know where the fuck there's a secret entire mansion library that no one would somehow notice was a giant negative space in the building. But, like, if it is somehow big enough, I could accept that all 3 secret entrances lead there somehow. The idea that all 3 secret entrances meet up with each other and then go to the same door is where I get completely baffled.
Yeah.
Also, the secret entrances don't meet up in the same place, just so we're clear. Because Dave has been recently using the secret entrance to get directly to Oswin's lab. Like, from a different door or something, and not through the library. So they don't meet up. I think. It definitely felt like whenever, like, every time they've used the library secret entrance, like the conservatory secret entrance, they've come out in the library. But every time they've used any other secret entrance, they come out in Oz's lab. Which is connected to the library, but not the same place, so they don't meet up. But yeah, the space just doesn't fit. Like, you can't draw this mansion. It doesn't. Yeah. Not in a way that doesn't contradict the explanation of how these spaces work, because no one ever talks about climbing a ladder or stairs, I don't think.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's less important than the insane sentence, but it was what I was about to bring up when the sentence tried to strangle you.
Though I didn't really understand the full weight of why, part of me didn't care enough to ask. Mom was Oswin's sister after all, or at least they were close enough that they considered each other family. Why are we questioning Florencia and Oswin's familial relationship now? They can just be family.
Are you saying they're not actually sister and brother?
I think what they're saying is that Roswell's a fucking idiot.
He might be. This is everywhere in the script, but constantly they just make a normal statement that you wouldn't question, and then it weirdly takes a step back and muddies the water about the thing they literally just said in the same sentence. And in this case, it's... in a lot of cases, I can't tell if it's meant to build a wider mystery or if it's just weird non-committal writing. Writing like a bottom, if you will.
Why her name was the password to this door in particular was a mystery to me. Not that it really mattered anyway.
Did we already learn that passwords are unique to the person? I think we did.
The whole concept of family was a strange one for me. With Dad working long hours and Mom doing the same, I was just used to spending my time alone. Keep the place manageable enough without being messy. Get my homework done. Simple stuff. More often than not, I'd find myself dropped off in this very house for prolonged periods of time, semi-homeschooled by the only other boar here, though chores were handled mostly by Benson. As I stepped into the lab, I could see Oswin there already looking to the door. The place had been closed off, but a quick entry of the door code into the panel beside it released the lock.
Good morning.
I grumbled something back and wandered closer, dropping myself into the open chair beside him.
What? Not happy to see me?
It's not that.
Ah, well then.
He always seemed so energetic when we were alone. It was almost like dealing with a tired Orlando, or maybe a slightly caffeinated Dave.
What? A tired Orlando?
Yeah, he's saying Orlando is so hyper that Oswin's energy level currently is around that of a tired Orlando or a slightly caffeinated Dave.
Were we supposed to think Orlando was hyper in this playthrough?
I guess so.
Even energetic Oswin is less energetic than caffeinated, like a not fully caffeinated Dave. I give up.
He always seems so energetic, blah, blah, blah. Still, he hurried over to the door to the lab and locked it again, ensuring we had privacy.
You want to see a magic trick? I've been working on a new one.
A magic trick? Now?
I thought you liked magic tricks.
I do, but all of the things you could be working on. The wind had been taken out of his sails, and he sat down heavily in his chair, swiveling as he thought.
So, no magic trick then. Fine.
Sorry, if things were a little different, I'd be interested, but...
What?
I had a dream last night, and I don't know what to think about it.
Different to your other dreams?
If Thanatos were here, he'd correct me and say it was a memory.
Ah, I see.
So they're getting worse, or maybe not worse, but more vivid.
I can't say I'm a fan of that. What do you require of me?
To listen.
All right.
I breathed in deep through my nose as I gathered my thoughts. Looking around the lab, I tried to focus on anywhere other than the pair of eyes staring at me. I don't know if what we've been doing, what I mean is...
You could just say it. Thanatos isn't here.
I'm having second thoughts. I'm wondering if maybe he lied.
Well, I can tell for you for a fact that he wasn't invented to specifically double-cross you, or even really think of half the things he does.
Right. He was just meant to be a friend.
But now you have questioned it.
Wait,
Other things
Oswin knows that Thanatos is that he belongs to Roswell. So
Yeah.
he just lied to Dave earlier completely, 100%, when he said he didn't know who Thanatos' master was.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, the entire investigation or attempts to learn anything about the narrative have just been a waste of time because everyone just lies to Dave anyway and he doesn't investigate anything. And
Dave is hysterically 100% the absolute least interesting and most poorly written visual novel protagonist I have ever read. And I have played socially awkward on this channel.
A category of characters defined entirely by their lack of interesting qualities. Now that you've questioned it, other things are a bit muddied, right?
One way to say it, sure. From one of his drawers, he pulled out a small piece of wrapped candy and handed it over to me. After I'd taken it, he grabbed one for himself and started unwrapping it idly. What's really weird is that Oswin is also like, I like my privacy and I hate children, especially that Roswell child. But then we get this flashback and they like actually enjoy their time together frequently. Like it's just like all an act.
Yeah, well this is the recent days where they're supposed to be bonding.
Yeah, I know. But even when we see that as Dave, it's portrayed like they're like constantly at each other's throats. So like, I don't know, kind of sus. I guess the point I'm making is that, like, if he's here the whole time as a child and we knew that Oswin tutored him his whole life and he seemingly has habits where he gives Roswell candy and, like, we already are able to put together here what their familial relationship is. Like, it's just... It's the implication of a conspiracy, but the conspiracy is just that people want to lie.
Yeah, they just keep lying to Dave.
Yeah, but
That's
like,
it.
but
That's
the
all
thing
it's
is
about.
that lying normally has a goal, and there isn't one here, I guess is my point. Oh, this is your dialogue.
I still don't know if I can even reconcile how Oz dies if you reveal him like one day early in the other route. And that's the most important choice you make in the entirety of Password, is whether or not you reveal Oz when it's the single biggest impact. And just the idea that the difference between these two endings, where Dave dies or not, is entirely based on whether or not you make that choice like 20 days earlier. It's just such a strange abstraction of cause and effect. You know, Roswell, things are bad enough that if you wanted things to stop, you could still stop them.
I know, but what would the cost be?
$50. Not what I'm willing to pay, mind you.
He regarded me over his glasses with the piece of candy still half unwrapped in his fingers. Mine untouched.
It's unlike you to turn down a piece of candy.
The faintest hint, something fruity and sugary.
Oh wait, no, hold on, sorry. I thought that was just the second sentence from the last one.
I unwrapped it the rest of the way and put it in my mouth. Something fruity and sugary. The faintest hint of tartness that made my mouth pucker as I rolled it to rest against my cheek.
That's better.
Oz, you being here makes things so much more complicated. If you weren't, I could have just, gotten it done. Lived with the guilt for a couple weeks and that'd be that. I'd be dead, but everyone else would be alive.
Lived with the guilt for a couple of weeks? Of what? And everyone lives? It's not as if me being here has really stopped your attempts, however. Even attempting Benson's murder, no doubt. What? What?
Excuse me?
He looked to the door, as if making sure it was still closed before sliding closer to me, bringing his voice low. I don't know why I just read that. Anyway. I know your determination to save your friends is that strong, but you'd willingly shoot Benson? You'd ever consider making him a target? You'd even consider making him a target?
Does it matter? Dave stopped it, and it's not as if he's one of my friends. What?
So, Roswell always killed Benson? Roswell murdered Benson.
It's not as if he's one of my friends is talking about Benson?
Yeah, because he's trying to save his friends. So this experiment is to save his friends, I guess?
Yeah.
Based on the extremely abstract and poorly reinforced idea that the game really needs us to understand, which is that they're marked for death somehow.
Yeah.
Somehow they're going to die, and he needs to save them via a magic experiment. And so he's willing to sacrifice Benson because that causes another death, that causes more timelines.
Yeah.
I'm just does the morphogenetic field training, but I don't understand why anyone's marked for death or what that means.
Yeah, I was just clarifying
that
he wasn't talking about Dave not being his friend, because if that's what he was saying, I would have lost my mind.
That was extremely funny, yes.
I don't even know that guy.
One of the many struggle points about this game is that the entire narrative is basically based on a prophecy.
Yeah.
But one that also is really poorly communicated.
But that we now know Roswell made up, because he told Thanatos to tell everyone they were going to die.
But I don't know if it's made up, because he even just said, like, I could have just done this. I would have felt bad, but I'd be dead and my friends would be alive. So this experiment is somehow supposed to save his friends.
Yes.
But from an abstract threat that no one understands and hasn't even been established as being like, it's not even established in the narrative as being some kind of like cosmic horror beyond our understanding threat. It's just unestablished as a threat.
Yeah,
we just don't know. We just don't know what it is or how to even think about it, and the characters don't grapple with it because they don't know what the prophecy exists or whatever. That's the only thing I would call it. So, but even then, because of how time travel works in this setting, because we keep seeing how each bad end plays out for Dave and everything, we know that he's not saving his friends. He is at best eventually creating one outcome where they happen to survive in one timeline. But every single timeline where he murders somebody for the experiment, because he might even be the one that killed everyone on day 8 or whatever, then he's just creating timelines where Sal died in a freezer and so on. Like, because all those timelines also stay in existence. They don't go away. So he's like I said at the beginning of the playthrough, basically, he's another fucking Akane, where she's just a nightmare person who's willing to doom all these people in 100 different timelines to create one where they survive.
Yeah.
When she created the death game in the first place, that kind of stuff. And in the case of the first one, it's about saving her, but at the cost of horrible outcomes for all these people in 100 different timelines. It's like, it's really upsetting when you think about that, especially with characters like Lotus that just like don't understand what happened and were just kidnapped one day into this scenario, and their crime was that their daughter died or something. That's their connection. So it's just, they didn't do anything to deserve any of this.
Yeah.
He grabbed me hard by the ear, hard enough that I squealed in pain, but I was just as quickly pulled into his chest in some awkward hug.
Now you listen here, boy. Benson is family. You do well to respect your elders.
Why the pause?
To be frank, I don't think he'd let you kill him unless he, well, let you kill him.
Okay.
And if he did, where's the problem? You said yourself that you don't want me making my friends murderers or me living with the guilt of killing one of them myself.
I know you weren't raised to be that warped in your logic. Where is your compassion? Me,
Incredible
Oswin,
coming from
is saying
Oswin.
this.
You tried dealing with these nightmares of seeing everyone dead, Oz? How about you deal with the prospect that countless times that you don't even remember you're responsible for the deaths of those you care about?
Hey, watch your tone.
The worst part, I still don't know if I'm doing it right. If I screw up, everyone dies. I'm stuck between watching everyone die or choosing to save any number of them I can by doing awful things. He relaxed and I pulled away, dropping back into my chair. It's not fair, but what choice do I have?
You don't need me to tell you that you always have a choice, Roswell.
I just wish the choice was better.
So do I, Roswell. So do I.
I should maybe go get coffee or breakfast or something.
Before you go, are you still fine with me coming with me into the woods?
Me? Sure, it makes sense, though I don't know why you'd want to double check that.
It's to remind the audience of where we are in the timeline, because I'm about to drug you so it doesn't happen. Because it's polite. Also, I just want to make sure that you're actually wanting to come. I have something important for you.
Then give it to me now?
Not while Thanatos is around.
He's always going to be around. He's always going to be around long after I die. You die, long after everyone dies, and will remember and tell me anything relevant anyway.
Not this. This is
Oh my
something
god.
I'd rather
so
you
he
not
fully...
hear from him in any loop of the universe.
He's fully in on the conspiracy. Okay.
It's just so dumb.
Yeah.
I can't ever have Thanatos here in any timeline that I love you. What?
Yeah.
You're being weird, but fine. If Thanatos was going to be weird, I guess you get a pass too.
Why, thank you, my dearest nephew. Though on the topic of Thanatos, where is he now?
Oh my god. Oh, we've already established he's not here right now. Does it matter where he is? Ah!
In my room, checking his memory for me.
It feels contradictory because it's like, why can't they just give him the thing then if his Thanatos is not here?
I'm gonna
Not while
throw
Thanatos
myself.
is around. By the way, where is Thanatos? Not here. Okay, what? You don't see a contradiction in all those lines back to back? You seem to contemplate. Oop.
I hate this so much.
He seemed to contemplate on that, almost wanting to say something, but he held back. If he wasn't going to be the prying, then I wasn't going to offer anything. Did you want anything from the kitchen, Oz? I could hear him mumble under his breath, something about me calling him uncle, but I ignored it and waited for his reworked answer.
No, thank you. I shall see you later, Roswell.
This is deeply trying.
Uh-huh.
I made my way back through the passage and closed it behind me once I'd emerged from the basement. It was quiet, though I could hear movement. Had the others started to arise already? Had something happened? Each step I made heading upstairs towards the foyer was made carefully just in case.
In case of what?
Peering around the corner of where I'd emerged to check who was about, my breath caught in my chest briefly, and I pulled my head back.
Oh, that's weird.
He's not wearing the hoodie now?
Yeah, he's not wearing the hoodie.
It's crazy how this game is definitely not 100% in conversation with Echo, but is literally copying a perspective shift that Echo does.
Yeah, no, I pointed that out a minute ago where I'm like, huh. Yeah, it's like in that other famous furry visual novel where you suddenly shift perspective to one of the side characters.
The thing is that was done for like a really potent thematic narrative reason, and this is just because Dave isn't actually the protagonist of this story. He's just the character we were stuck with, and that's it.
I'm just caught by how blatantly Dave has a different art style.
Yeah.
Huh.
I don't like this character's design at all. I think hyena teeth drawn like that are weird and strange and look bad on this character design.
They look like had to get a little longer when you were like, hang on, I'm describing Marrow.
No, that's not what I was thinking. I just mean like specifically in the way that this art style looks. I think this way about Dave's dad as well is like, it looks like he has like
two teeth off to the side. I think it's from that racing movie or cartoon.
I don't know what you're talking about. It looks like Legos stuck to his face.
I've never seen
That's
it
what
before.
it looks like
There's I think it's 3D animated where there's like a Rottweiler or something is like a racer. And he's got two teeth sticking out the side of his mouth, like right next to each other like that. And he's got a little buddy that's like some kind of white animal, I think. And there's
I have no idea what you're talking about. Truly, no clue.
It gets a lot of furry art, but I don't actually know the context of the. I've never seen the movie.
Interesting. Yeah, to me,
3D.
it looks like weirdly, I don't know. It just looks like they have like floating. Like I want it to look more orc tusky if it's going to be sticking out of their mouth, because all I can see this as now is that like his mouth is open, like the corners of his mouth are open and then the front of his mouth is open, but there's just this one little spot where his teeth stick out like that, and it's just like it's hard for me to see. I think Dave looks weird here is my point. I think he doesn't look like Dave also.
Yeah. No, I didn't recognize him. So my first reflex was that that's David. That's the dad.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well.
Which I mean, like they're related, but I mean, but I didn't. I needed to be told by the game that this was the character we played as whole game because it doesn't look like him.
Yeah.
Pacing back and forth, lost in thought. I just watched him for a bit, wandering around without having noticed me yet. At some point, I figured I'd waited long enough and made myself known. Dave?
Roswell?
He quickly looked around for someone or something and then sighed in relief upon not seeing whatever it was he was seeing.
upon not seeing whatever it was he was seeing.
Yeah.
He quickly looked around. I don't know. I rereading
For
that.
a moment, I thought, well...
Thought what?
Thanatos, after yesterday? Imagine, now we get to see him from the outside perspective and be frustrated by how he just never says sentences.
Ah, that, right. I could see the expression he was giving me, somewhere between suspicious and concerned, but honestly, I had my own worries. Had he figured it out? Had Thanatos let something slip? With how often he'd been partnering up with Dave, I just had to trust he had things under control.
Are you feeling okay?
Yeah, I'm feeling, well, better than I did yesterday, that's for sure.
Do you know why?
Shy of bed rest, it'd likely be something Osmond drugged me with. Said it'd take some time to kick in, but it should get me going.
Wait, when did that happen?
It seems Thanatos was telling the truth. Dave was fine, but must have been out of it until this morning. When? I guess it'd have been sometime after you found me in the rec room.
After he knocked me out, you mean?
After he knocked us both out.
But you woke up sometime after that?
Yeah, to Osmond injecting me with something.
The level of logistics dialogue that always goes into, we were knocked out, but now we're both awake, so that means that we must have woken up at some point between now and then. He really needs to stop doing that.
Given how much better I'm feeling by comparison, I think I'd be willing to give him a pass on it.
So no Thanatos and no idea why he did what he did?
No Thanatos. Was Dave expecting to see Thanatos? Had nothing at all happened to him between what had happened back then and now?
I lost my place.
Maybe keeping him unconscious was the way to go after all. At the very least, he couldn't do anything but put himself in danger. Or to put himself in danger.
Roswell?
Sorry,
Maybe that's a short answer anyway.
And the long answer?
Do you remember much about what happened when you came to the rec room yesterday?
I showed up, you had a medal, and said...
it was a trap.
Yeah.
I wandered over to the stairs and sat down, cradling my chin to try and puzzle out how Thanatos had thought guiding me there in a drug-addled state was a good idea. Admittedly, I don't really remember how I got to the rec room, just that I was kind of in a daze. I remember running into Thanatos somewhere just outside of my room and thought he must have led me there.
And the medal?
That part I remember. He handed it over to me shortly after I collapsed into the beanbag.
Oh, why they're talking about this, and why is this being... Specifically, why is this the scene we're getting in like in the context of like a revelatory perspective switch?
Yeah.
It's like... What a weird, boring logistics conversation to fixate on now, of all times.
Yeah.
Alright, and the medal is... where now?
In my room, but when we handed it over, I remember him saying something like, now we just have to wait for the hyena to show up.
And a few minutes later, you did.
You knew it was a trap just from that?
You tell me, Dave. I don't think throwing you a party upon your arrival was the plan.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Internally, I breathed a sigh of relief. If there was one constant I could plan around, it was how readily Dave was willing to let things go.
What an incredible, terrible justification for how shitty your writing is for 95% of your game.
Oh, it's worse. The next sentence worse.
Infuriating for any number of people for sure, but really convenient when the poor guy kept putting himself in harm's way.
Yeah, it's just like, imagine writing a story and then instead of writing a good story, you just go, this is a character trait, actually. I'm quirky and pointing it out for the audience to laugh.
Infuriating for any number of people. Uh-huh.
Yeah, infuriating to
sure
literally everyone because you wrote a non-character.
Help.
You wrote a non-character. This is more of an anti-novel than fucking Repairer of Reputations. Like, this is crazy.
I'm not okay.
My brain hurts. I hate this shit.
Yep.
I didn't think the trap was going to be a literal sound trap, though.
You don't know what he does? What does he get out of knocking us both out, though? And why was I out until this morning, but you were woken up?
I couldn't tell you. Maybe because I was being medicated was why I woke up. Not that I was awake for long before sleeping again. It was something I'd have to bring up with Thanatos again. There wasn't a good reason why Dave would be unconscious for that much longer than I did and guess he'd done something different to him. But given we were both in the room when the sound trap went off, I had no idea.
Remind me to take a page out of Tyson's book when I see him again. Thanatos needs to stop being a jerk and knocking people out.
These characters are so stupid.
Uh-huh.
Catch him off guard near an open window and you might be able to enjoy a little bit of defenestration. It's a callback to when we saw this from the other side.
I'd probably be fine with throwing him out the window if only once.
I could feel my eyebrows go up, the faintest of smiles across my face. You know what that word means? Before coffee, even?
Yeah?
He didn't seem convinced, almost confused somehow as to how he knew the word.
Maybe it could just be that he was confused somehow and that was it. Maybe that could be all you write right there instead of the rest of that.
It's important to go through in just horrific detail.
So what happens now?
I did have something I wanted to talk to you about, actually. Are you really fine with going into the woods later with Oswin? For the Dominic thing, I mean? People call him Dominic so infrequently that it's always a little startling. Like, is that in the rotation?
Before I could reply, he shook his head, continuing within the brief pause he'd allowed himself to breathe.
I know it makes sense for you to go. I know that it's all relative as far as it being fine, too. But what's your plan for if something goes wrong? Being lucky is not going to cut it.
Where's this coming from all of a sudden? You're not normally so alert, or,
It's important, Roswell.
If you must know, yeah, I was counting on my luck. I don't think anything else we can do really compares to what an organized crime family has as far as resources goes. I could see him go to speak up, but I shook my head, cutting him off much in the same way he did to me. You'll have Benson and the others. You can make a plan for the worst, but there's no sense in worrying too much about it. Just have some faith.
Faith.
He repeated the word and shook his head, awkwardly standing there still rather than joining me and sitting on the stairs. Hey, can I ask a favor?
Sure.
I feel that with everything going on, it might be a good idea to keep tabs on Orlando.
All right. What about you, though?
Me? What about me?
What are you planning on doing between now and when you leave?
Well, I suppose I should get a contingency plan down. Talk to Sal and Tyson too while I think about it.
How come?
They'll likely be able to help Benson the most. Dean is the backup in case something goes wrong out in the woods. Rescue mission stuff.
All right. But can we get coffee? I haven't had any yet, and it's a lot to sit on while we wait for the others. It's kind of a big narrative moment to hit you with your protagonist from the outside. So I don't think they understand why you would do that, but they also don't seem to understand like why you would want to redo a scene from a different perspective. It's inherently supposed to be about like, oh my god, this new angle changes everything. But it's just a really long and drawn out logistics conversation being repeated verbatim, and it's not revelatory.
No, it's in fact one of the least interesting or valuable moments from the previous route.
Yeah, so having it repeat, you're like, what is happening? Why is this repeating?
We made coffee and sat in the dining room. Dave lost his own head and only barely sipping his down while I gulped down the sugary... Dave lost in his own head, comma, and only barely sipping down while I gulped down the sugary brew. Okay, that's what it should say. I needed to be alert and brain working at full capacity. This was a problem that had to have a solution after all.
I was trying to keep you on your toes.
But less that and more nervous about what Thanatos might find in his memories. Was what I'd seen, the glimpses of it, real? Did I need to stop Dave from entering the forest at all costs?
I started this session today thinking we would be done in like 3 hours. and I feel like we have 100 more years until we're done. And I hate it, and it sucks.
Brave of you to make a time estimate.
I just was really praying.
We can make it. We can do it.
I don't know if we can.
I left when the others all started to file in under the guise of needing to mentally prepare myself for later on, though Dave's look told me he was suspicious.
Of what? I don't even know what he'd be suspicious of, and I'm you.
Something felt off about what was happening. Wrong, maybe. Different. It was worth consulting with Thanatos about it, or maybe checking with Osmond about it to see what he thought. Thanatos. He turned to me mid-bounce as he was jumping up and down on the bed.
Get it? He's quirky.
What? What are you doing?
Taking a break from searching my memories. How did breakfast go?
Fine. How did checking your memories go?
This, I'll call it a retcon. It's a retcon. This retcon about him having a voice,
yeah,
makes it really funny when you go back to Dave's memory, like the encounter where he has this like tearful confession about how hard his life is to Dave and how he's struggling, and you have the emotional scene where he's sitting on the windowsill and everything, and he was still putting on
fake voice.
He was still doing a fake voice the whole time, which he does as a joke. He kept that up through his most earnest and honest moment with Dave so far.
I legitimately, my pulse is slowing down reading this. Like, it's really tough.
You're gonna give up the ghost.
Progress the text. Also fine.
There were a few moments of silence before he resumed jumping, as if that was going to answer my question.
So what? I checked it. What did you want to know?
Are we going to be running into any problems? You know? Saving Dave.
Oh, I don't know. Probably.
What do you mean? That was the point of me asking you to run that search.
Hey, don't get snippy with me. You just weren't specific enough. Now, if you were to ask nicely.
Thanatos, if Dave dies because you neglected to tell me what's about to happen.
He won't. Calm down. We just need to do something. Specify for once. Say one thing.
It still keeps reading like we're just doing it in one draft, like it's written stream of consciousness.
It feels like we're getting yanked around. It just doesn't. It feels
like it's just killing time in the middle of its most what should be like the biggest deal part of the game ever.
It's like, don't worry, everyone. The reveal is coming. We'll tell you what the big plan is shortly, anytime now. Point. Oh, fucking A. This sucks. I'm falling asleep.
It has all the same energy as somebody like psyching themselves up, like I'm gonna jump, here I go, like you're about to jump out of the plane, you're like, and here I go, nope, and it's just like saying it out loud to yourself. I'm totally gonna write the story. Here I go.
That's something being.
Here's the plan. You're gonna go into the woods with dearest uncle, right?
I ground, palming my face and giving him a lazy nod.
Perfect. How about we don't do that and we make someone else go instead?
And how exactly is that stopping Dave from dying?
Beats me, but if you're around, that's an extra set of eyes. Besides, the worst case scenario is that something happens and we get a do-over.
The point is we shouldn't need a do-over if you've already seen all this happen before.
Okay, but how is you going into the woods keeping you safe?
It's not. That's why I volunteered. I'm gonna die anyway. There's no stopping that from happening, mind you, so I should wear the risk.
But then what about me? Why don't I get a say in this? Because you're not a person and you don't feel emotions and you're a computer and you have a role to play. I mean, not that I agree with that, but that's just the central conceit.
You do, but you were the one that carried that message through time and space to me about wanting my friends alive. That I asked you to save them.
We are saving them. Sort of.
Well, it's becoming increasingly hard to believe that when the way to keep most of them alive means murdering one or more of them. I collapsed on the bed, Thanatos still merrily bouncing on the spot on the bed that he'd chosen.
So? The plan is to what?
Oh, the plan is to what? Knock me out?
Well, if that's gonna work, then sure. All it'll take is me swiping the injector from the lab and jabbing you when no one's looking.
Well, we're gonna need to hold off just a little bit. I've already spoken to Dave and thrown him at Orlando to keep him out of the way.
They don't need the injector. He can just knock him out whenever he feels like with his body.
Meaning?
I also said that I was going to talk to Sal and Tyson about contingencies for when I head into the woods. I should at least do that before going to do anything so my story stays straight.
Fine. I imagine Oswin is going to be in his lab for a little bit longer anyway, so I'll need to wait until he's sleeping.
All right. Sounds like a plan. Thanks, Thanatos.
You're welcome. I just forgot the Thanatos voice for a second. I'll run another search on Dave just in case. But if all goes well, I imagine Oswin is going to take Dean in with him. I was like queuing it up in my throat and I just like full on couldn't make a voice. Like I was just like, I don't know how to do this voice anymore.
Completely fell apart.
switching back and forth between Roswell and other characters really specifically is hard. Sal and other characters is hard, but like Roswell, I talk entirely with my head, and then with everyone else, I talk with my chest. So it's like really hard to swap between them.
You said he knows how to navigate the woods, right?
As well as anyone could guess. At no point in my memory he's been revealed to be in on the ground level, so, you know.
I could have told you that.
You never know, it could have been a long con.
No offense to Dean, but he's not exactly organized crime material.
Yeah, well, if anything goes wrong to his body, he's still the best candidate to fix me, so we need him.
If it goes wrong to his body?
It's just a weird way of phrasing that.
I didn't mean
bizarre.
that he was dumb, just homely.
Oh my god.
That's not even what that word means.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll be back later. I'm gonna talk to Sal.
No, please don't make me do these voices separately.
When I got to the conservatory again, I realized just how careless I'd been. The passage still being wide open from when I'd taken it before. Thankfully, it didn't seem to be a problem for much longer.
The secret passage that literally fucking everyone knows about.
Uh-huh.
Good morning, Roswell. Oswin said he'd spoken to you already.
Yeah, He shook his head, standing aside from the passage as if assuming I was going to be taking it down. He was right, though, and I stepped forward and started to cross the threshold into the dark.
Before I go, I had something I wish to say.
Oh?
It may not register to you, or perhaps you do not care, but I see Oswin as my son. This is the 500th time! 500th time! 500th time they've said this! Ah!
We're best friends.
We literally just went over this! Oswin just said this!
You've told me this before.
And it warrants saying again, I implore you, do not go hurting my boy.
I won't. His hand quickly found my shoulder, and I was spun around to face him.
See to it that you don't. This is not a threat, though I am not above threatening someone that poses a danger to my family.
Why do they talk like this?
I gave him a funny look, eyes flicking to the door before dropping my voice down to a whisper. Am I included in that list of family? He straightened, eyes going to the door before settling back on mine as he went to the bookshelf.
Including you, Roswell. Now hurry along, I suspect you have places to be.
I'd barely cleared the threshold of the passage before he'd closed it shut behind me. Just as well, given it was probably for the best people didn't start asking who was going where. Though Benson or Osborne was a convenient excuse, with people too eager for Dominic's return, chances are the run of the house was all mine.
What? This is the text change color? What am I supposed to think about that?
Try it.
As I passed the laboratory, I found the door open and stuck my head inside. No Osmond from what I could see, though the first step inside was a mistake. Got you!
No, that was Roswell. They just forgot to make the text his color.
Yeah, they just forgot. Okay.
Hey, put me down!
We're friendly.
He grabbed me suddenly and lifted me off the ground, though it didn't last from how I immediately tried to pry myself away, even though without me doing anything, the strain in his face told me he couldn't keep it up.
I can't believe that the text is just fucked. I can't believe the text is fucked.
Just midway through the sequence, they forgot that they were doing a different color for Roswell. Whoops. You've grown A fair bit.
You're calling me heavy.
Am not?
I'm also going to add on that you're really unfit for someone that has a gym in his house.
Mind your manners, boy.
How's Vampire Survivors going? Are you having a good time?
I'm not playing Vampire Survivors. I'm just.
I wish you were. I wish one of us was having a good time.
my tiny bit of multitasking is I'm trying to figure out what the now irrelevant furry racing thing is, but I've just never seen it before, so I have nothing to go on.
Dark Elden Ring Seamless Co-op update came out, and it includes invasions now.
Yup.
That's exciting.
And other fun news, Toma updated the Beck dildo, and now it has fur texture on the balls. So exciting things are happening around us in life.
Yeah, and while all of that stuff is happening, we're playing Password. Are we gonna do co-op tonight? Do I have something to live for?
No.
Oh.
I think both Andrew and Ka are gone, and also because of that I made plans to go see a movie with Stephanie. You can come see a movie with us. We're gonna watch The Quiet Place 3.
Oh, I have plans to see that tomorrow.
For some reason I've seen all of them with Stephanie.
I have seen one of them, but I'm gonna skip the second one and just watch this one tomorrow, I guess.
Yeah, the second one's really pointless.
Anyway, that was more interesting than the game we're playing.
Every now and then you need to feel alive, you know.
Yeah, it hurts.
I am. You're the one that decided to lift me off the ground without any warning.
Once upon a time, you loved having me pick you up. We'd go walk around in the hedge maze, have a look at the greenhouse, sit by the pool.
Why are you choosing to reminisce now?
That's what I've been asking. We could not have lost momentum harder from Dave's death than all of this fucking meandering.
He looked away.
So, hey, the text is back.
Yeah, suddenly.
Does that imply that this was a small rewrite? That someone complained about something and that section was rewritten?
I don't know. It does weirdly... you could potentially weirdly separate that area and study that as trying to figure out what it means, that just that part's different.
He looked away slowly, taking longer than he should have to reply.
I am taking what chance I can.
Meaning?
We both know you're on borrowed time. On top of that, it's what's to happen later is very dangerous for us both.
Tell me about it. Thanatos is already suggesting that I don't go in with you.
I'd be all right with that, if I had my way.
Really? Even knowing it's the right choice?
Sometimes it's not about the right choice. Sometimes there is no right choice. There is no right choice. That's a normal way to speak as human.
Why do I get the feeling
Oopsie.
you're being obtuse for fun?
Roswell, surely you can't be as blind to what's going around you. What's going around you as you're pretending to be. Going on around you is missing.
I'm not blind. I'm not deaf either.
My eyes
Thank
super
you.
work.
Thank you, Roswell.
Then
Thank you,
prove it.
Roswell, for your
What is it that I'm
incredible...
referring to?
It could be many things.
But if I had to guess...
I stepped away from him to sit down by his desk. Talking to Sal and Tyson could wait, and Osmond came to join me. You're talking about my motives.
In a sense.
You're talking about how my decision to do nothing and watch all of my friends die or actively kill one of them to save the rest, a horrible deed to commit the most good.
And? Is it worth it?
You tell me. He huffed through his nose, eyes narrowing behind those glasses of his.
You can see what effect my sins have had on me, boy. But I had to give up as punishment.
You look miserable.
What else?
But you're still fighting. For something or someone, I don't know.
For you, Roswell.
Me? What? I could feel my body tense up and begin to shake. I didn't understand.
I know that expression. You're worth fighting for, if only for a little bit longer.
That what? Because you're my uncle?
Because it's the right thing to do and nothing more.
Because I'm dying.
Not entirely.
Then what? I'm doomed to die. I'm living as best as I can with what time there is left. But that doesn't mean you should be fighting for me. There's no hope at the end of this road.
So what, you're telling me to give up?
Yes, kind of. Maybe. I don't know. But why are you fighting for me? What do you get out of it?
Do I need a reason to want to fight for my nephew? You're so caught up in saving Dave that who's saving you?
I can't be. That's why I'm the best one to pick when it comes to collateral damage or sacrifices. Or being put in harm's way. It's just the most logical option.
And you're really fine with that?
I'm resolved with it. Yeah.
That doesn't answer the question.
What am I meant to say? That I'm terrified that one day I'll go to sleep and not wake up? That the day is going to be sometime within the next week while everyone's in danger?
Roswell, that's not what I meant.
Then what do you mean? He got up, wandered over to a shelf, and looked around for something. Then he suddenly stopped, his hand going to his pocket before returning empty-handed.
I want you to try to remember something.
Okay, what?
Do you remember when Thanatos woke up? What he did?
Yeah, he seemed to be a mess, and I felt bad that my little rat friend was upset.
Do you remember what you did right after?
Yeah. I didn't fight it, letting my uncle hug me carefully and gently, unlike how he'd grabbed me the previous 2 times already.
Sentence just didn't need to keep going.
Yeah.
And do you remember what you asked of me one day out of the blue? Do you remember how scared you were when you asked?
I asked if you could help me save my friends. Thanatos had finally told me everything.
And what did I say?
That you'd help. That it wasn't going to be easy and that there were going to be hard decisions, but that you'd help.
Thanks for making the scene as annoying as possible, Oz. Instead of just expositing, you just prompted him over and over again as long to make this feel like pulling teeth. And I helped you because you mean a great deal to me, Roswell. I helped because at the end of the day, I didn't want to sit by and watch people die again.
Even after?
All the child murders, yes. The medical trial was a mistake by a naive man who threw caution to the wind to no good. I'm not about to let you do the same thing if I can. Do the same thing? I don't think Roswell is at risk of doing that.
I could hear him sniffle, though he didn't move his hands away to wipe away any tears. Were he crying?
I do not wish to watch you die a pointless death. I do not wish to watch your final precious moments in my life be wasted away in despair from watching those you care about die horrible deaths.
Even knowing that I was doomed, that if I saved him I wouldn't be around to enjoy it?
Did you ask yourself that question when you made your decision? Was it made in hopes that you'd be able to spend time with them?
No, just that they get to keep living.
So if you say that you want to come to the woods with me because you feel it'll keep your friends safe, I will not fight you. I may not want it, but the decision is yours to make.
You know something, Oswin?
What, Roswell?
For a great wizard, you sure do make a great magician's assistant.
What? Thank you, dearest nephew.
I should probably go talk to Sal or Tyson or something. Try and make sure there's a plan in case things go wrong out there.
Alright, but, before you go, may I make a selfish request?
Depends on the request.
Could you, call me? You know what, it's not important, never mind.
I wandered closer to the door as he seemed to make himself busy suddenly, stopping as I went to leave. Thanks for the hug, Uncle. He snapped up quickly to look at me, eyes hinting that he was holding back from saying something else, or hoping that I could hear whatever thoughts were going through his head.
And here's his face.
Unfortunately for him, as much as I liked the occult, I couldn't read minds. I just had to stay focused on getting done what I needed before it was too late.
I keep forgetting that's supposed to be part of his character, because it never comes up.
Yeah.
I like ghosts and stuff.
I closed the entry into the basement behind me, hearing movement down here. My eyes wandered over to the gym, and I nodded, hopeful that I'd find at least one of the two I was looking for in here. Hello? Anyone here? The moment I called out, the smell had hit me. Not of sweat or anything like that, but the dust from the lack of use now airborne from being disturbed. Ah, Roswell, how are you? Sal looked over to Tyson, who was busy lifting weights. He didn't even seem to register that I'd arrived through the cold, though he could wait. I'm doing okay, just okay though. Ah, all right. Hey, I don't mean to bother you, but can we talk? Me. Yeah, it's kind of important. I can come by later if I'm interrupting, but, We both briefly looked over to Tyson, who seemed to be in his own world as he lifted the same weight over and over in a slow, repeated movement. He'll be fine for a while. Let's step off to the side, given I should keep an eye out in case something goes wrong. We did as he suggested and gestured I could start talking, though I realized that I hadn't really prepared anything specific. I wanted to talk about later today, if it's all right.
About you heading off with Dominic.
Yeah.
All right, what about it?
Well, if I head into the woods and the worst happens, I want to make sure that there's a plan to, you know, keep you all safe. Have you been all thinking about what to do?
Admittedly, not really, though it would have been nice. We're still hoping for the best. Any plan we make assuming failure isn't great for morale at the moment.
But what if something does go wrong? What if it's bad enough that you have to act or die?
I understand, but perhaps don't go assuming things will be that bad. Though realistically, things aren't great at the moment.
So I want to know if I go out there, when I go out there, we have a plan in case I don't make it back.
Have you spoken to anyone else about this?
I mentioned it to Dave. He's hopefully keeping Orlando distracted, but, you know. He nodded knowingly, looking over to Tyson briefly.
How do you write this?
All I'm thinking about is the shower that I'm going to take in 10 minutes and how great that's going to be.
I can't get over the fact that, like, we're in the revelatory perspective swap where you get to see it all as Roswell now, and we're just saying that he had a bunch of boring conversations about the logistics of the plan that we know won't happen because he's not going to go on the thing because Dave's gonna go. So
and also logistics for things that he's already explained and already is in the process of explaining. Like he's
but they also keep not really having a plan anyway.
Yeah. It's just crazy to me. The part that gobsmacked me here was him being like,
"Hey, I want to talk to you about the thing happening later."
You mean the thing happening later where you go and do something?
Yes, that thing where I'm going to go do something.
That seems dangerous.
Yes. Have you ever heard of a situation where it becomes so dangerous that you have to act or die?
Well, having to act or die is a really bad thing. It's like, yeah, talk about the actual fucking thing.
I've been letting you go basically at full speed for so long, and it's mostly just them talking about the need to have a plan.
I'm reading this dialogue out loud. I'm reading the dialogue word for word, and it is not sticking with me.
No, because
that's how bad this is.
They're not saying anything. Nothing's happening.
I'm losing
It's just spinning its wheels in the mud, like completely deflating the entire swap. Because it's like, oh my god, we're Roswell. What crazy stuff's going to happen from Roswell's perspective? It's nothing. It's still nothing. He's just Dave again, also just walking in circles and not making plans, but talking about making plans, basically.
That drives me insane is that, like, a plot that is just a checklist isn't a narrative, but this story might be a better narrative if its plot was just a checklist. You know what I mean? Like, having these conversations where it's just, like, constantly reiterating the same idea that was, like, the premise of the conversation itself. And like literally, Roswell has come here to be like, I need to talk to Sal to figure out the plan and inform him on the plan.
He also talked about how he needs to talk to Sal and everybody like several times before finally doing it. Like he kept talking about how he needs to talk about to them. So like we were also wasting fluff text on just talking about the people he's going to talk to later over and over again.
Yeah,
it's just
like,
oh my
truly, it's just ridiculous that literally he's like. His premise here is to come and talk to Sal about this thing, and the only thing we've learned is that he planned to talk to Sal about this thing. Like, there's nothing fucking happening. Okay. If you do not return, know that we'll likely not wanting to move in case you're just late. That's not how it works when you do something like this. You set a time and then you move regardless of whether or not the circumstances are just that they're late. That's the catch-all, Sal. You're gonna be a shit cop.
But in doing that, you risk Memphis arriving instead.
it is a difficult situation to be put in.
Victory! The character that has exactly 2 teeth sticking out of the side of his mouth is named Buddy Thunderstruck.
We did it. We found something.
Yeah. I had enough time of nothing happening in the narrative to uncover this mystery.
This is fully not what I thought this would look like.
It's a very simple design. I think it might be a stop motion movie or something.
It does look stop motion, and it actually looks way more crafted than I was expecting. When you said it was like 3D and had a hyena with tooth and he was a racer, I thought you meant like Paw Patrol. That's where my mind went.
It's like a real movie or something.
Yeah.
And people ship him with like the ferret or whoever his sidekick is. And I just remember like, oh, he has exactly 2 teeth sticking out of one side of his mouth also in the same fashion.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
That's the entire comparison. The end.
I really like thinking about things that aren't Password while we're playing Password.
You want to go watch Buddy Thunderstruck?
Yeah, that could be a better experience here than this.
It is a difficult situation to be put in.
Hey, great. 3 awful voices to do back to back to back. This sucks. Next.
Oh, hello.
You two doing anything interesting? No? Great. I need to borrow Roswell for a bit.
Cool. Thanks for just saying this isn't interesting.
Me? Why?
I don't want to explain it here. Just follow.
Is there a reason?
Gee, I'm sure there is, Sal.
Oh, well, all right. You're not gonna ask what the reason is?
I'm inclined to believe you'll skirt around telling the truth or flat out deny me anyway. I would ask to follow, but leaving Tyson unsupervised seems like a poor choice.
All the time.
It's a game.
Technically saves time by just refusing to discuss something while we just move on with their lives, but then they have to explain why they're not talking about it for a full paragraph.
It's just it's like the miracle of this game, the big twist is going to be that logistics. The way they beat it is by creating a logistics trap where people get caught up in this thought termination where they just constantly are talking about logistics, and then they manage to avoid Memphis entirely because they're all too boring and too passive to fucking move.
I don't... This behavior is how they just stood around doing nothing for a full day until they stabbed Dave out of boredom. Which is a real thing that happened in the story.
My stomach hurts and I need to take a shower.
Just as a general, like, emotional response or physically?
No, like, I'm sweaty and gross and I'm sitting in my very warm room reading Password and it's just, I'm feeling my skin melt. Like, it's just awful. I hate this game. I played, here's a fun thing that happened, and this is an unfair comparison because it's comparing one of the greatest video games of all time to one of the worst I've ever played. But, like, the first day the Elden Ring DLC came out, I installed it and I booted up my stream and I was like, hey chat, I'm so excited to play Elden Ring. And then 30 minutes passed and I looked at the clock and it was 4:30 in the morning and I'd been playing for nearly 11 and a half hours. And I hadn't eaten. I don't think I drank water. Like, I literally
good.
I was just, but that's my point, is that I was taken somewhere and I had done things and I had been so engaged and I had enjoyed my experience so much that there was no physical discomfort being given to me by the experience of a downloadable content for a game that is excruciatingly hard and is getting reamed right now for being alienatingly hard. Meanwhile, playing Password is one of the most difficult things I've ever done in my life.
I somehow keep expecting it. Like, I keep believing for a moment that it'll do something. Especially when you're like reaching the endings of stuff. I'm like, here it comes, and then you're like, no. Back to talking logistics for hours. After something as kind of ballsy as like a protagonist switch and stuff, it's still just like, I give up. Back to not really doing anything for a very long time. And it's just like,
I'm really...
Usually people talk about how hard it is to produce any volume of writing because you're trying so hard. And I guess I don't know why it's on a mission to just win the award for most writing. Because it just writes the most. That's it. It's just so much writing. But that seemingly to no end. It just keeps writing.
Yeah.
And it's aimless. It's so strange. I genuinely can't, like, fit it in my mind that Password just does this.
Yeah. It hurts. I'm thinking about so many things that aren't Password while I'm reading the text out loud. That's all. I'm thinking about like how much I want like Bloodborne to be on PC. Like I want to play more better video games. Like I'm sitting here, I bought the Vermis books the other day by Plastiboot. Those are really good. Those are really interesting. Like these are all the things that are just souping in my brain right now. And then Password is happening to me and I'm nauseous and I want to drink water and take a shower. We'll get through this. It's just like, I think it's like how like medicine can be good for you even if it tastes bad, but too much medicine is poison. That's what like this experience of enduring Password is like that. It's like that. It's like needing
swift as a coursing river.
I need like, it's like Pepto-Bismol, like the minty flavor in the chalky texture on my tongue is like kind of interesting, but like I don't know if I would drink that as a beverage. You know what I'm saying?
Minty Pepto? I don't like that.
Pepto's.
I don't like that sound.
Pepto's really like minty.
I guess I haven't touched it forever.
Yeah.
I don't have stomach problems.
I don't generally either, but it's really good when you get horrifically sick and puke everywhere. So anyway, that's what this game makes me want to do.
Don't give the fan art ideas. Right. It's been a while. I forgot.
Well, I'll fill you in when we come back. I need to talk to Tyson anyway, so hopefully he's less busy.
Yeah. Can we go now?
It's blue again.
Scene's over.
The text has become blue.
He led the way out of the gym toward the stairs, and then once we were safely out of view of the gym, he scurried up onto my shoulder. Emerging from the side corridor, I checked to see if the coast was clear. From what I could see, Haas and Dean were standing just outside the back door looking out to the woods. Thanatos pointed me in the direction of one of the side rooms, and I headed there quickly, just in case someone spotted him on my shoulder.
If the reveal has been that Roswell's literally just been walking around with Thanatos the whole time, and like, literally, it's just that no one else was observant, and that we were completely correct when we were like, why is Roswell missing from all of these scenes? Why is he just gone? This is not like hidden. It's incredibly sus the whole time, and everyone's just unobservant. That's very frustrating.
I mean, Password's barely a mystery because almost none of the characters have a mystery they're trying to solve or even a question they're trying to answer.
Yeah. I have another thought about this, actually, and I don't want to keep delaying this, but this is something that's interesting to me, is like, in a world where there are multiple routes and multiple endings, right? There needs to be like incentive to, if you get one ending, you look at the others. And this is actually something that I think that VLR does really well, is just like needing to do everything to see the whole point of it. Like that's like, is the Ludo narrative. Raging Loop does something similar as well, where you like need to see everything to understand what's going on and to actually get to the end. What's confusing to me about this is, imagine how unsatisfying reading this route is and getting this ending. What motivates you to do Route B? And at what point do you dive off of a skyscraper because it's all repeated text. You know what I mean? Like I can't imagine how much more disappointing Route B would be if we did this route first. Not because this route is good, but because this route is bad and Route B is also bad in mostly the same exact ways. Like, but you don't even get the added benefit of getting this part from a content perspective.
No, it just shits itself. No, a lot of this has been a reminder of like the time I played Final Fantasy Type 0, and then I caught wind midway through that you're supposed to play the game twice to get the full story. But then when I reached the first ending, it was so bad that I immediately lost any will to play the game ever again. And it's like, you can't put all your eggs in the idea of playing several endings if you can't write a good ending.
Yeah.
And Type 0 has just an abysmal ending. Like, I don't know why anyone would go back for the true ending of Type 0 with how bad its first ending is.
Huh.
It feels so... I was so naive back then. So young.
All right, what's wrong? What happened? He jumped down off my shoulder. My text turned pink again. Onto one of the sofas and began to pace along its length. I took the moment to close the door quietly so we had a little more freedom to talk. We have a problem. A big problem. How big a problem are we talking?
The biggest.
That doesn't narrow it down.
I just finished checking my memory. It's bad.
So Dave still dies.
On the last loop. It was my fault. And before you go complaining, I already apologized.
How did this happen?
From what I remember, we went with my plan to knock you out.
Which I'll remind you was against what I wanted.
Way to rub salt in the wound, but anyway, it's bad.
Meat hook?
Thankfully not.
I shuddered at the memory of it. One of the first and with it more frequent nightmares that I had been given by my rat.
Like my wolf, but my rat.
My rat nightmares.
All right, well.
You still remember him dying that way, don't you?
Yeah, in that shack out in the middle of nowhere.
But I don't remember anything about how you got out that way.
Beats me. I can only assume that Orlando and I went to look for Dave in the woods for some reason.
For some reason.
Which is sort of what happens here.
You just said there was no hook.
There wasn't. You know what I mean.
There's no hook anywhere in this narrative.
So what have we got to work with?
I don't know. I wasn't out there.
He's so bad at this.
Tell me what you did see then.
Dave just shows up dead, carried by Tyson out of the woods.
I flicked him quickly on the nose and he reeled, fumbling and almost falling backwards onto the cushions behind him. Start at the beginning, at the part where you knocked me out.
Do that again and we're gonna have issues.
Naturally, I took the invitation.
Hey.
Thanatos, you admitted you got screwed up. How do we fix it?
Brat.
Jerk. Fine. So in lieu of you not being able to go out, Oswin picked someone else. Makes sense of it, right? And the part that doesn't make sense is why he chooses Dave, right? Got it in one. I mean, there isn't really any other way that would have played out, right? Explain. Dave would be most likely to volunteer to keep his friends safe. It's the whole reason he finds himself in danger more times than not. Unfortunately, this one was all on Oswin. Dean was ready to volunteer, but he chose Dave for some reason. What was the reason? Some dumb reason. I don't know. I never bothered to ask. In the aftermath, everyone was a mess. Oswin pulled you away pretty quickly, but things went downhill fast. You know, Thanatos is really bad at doing the thing he's supposed to do, which is figuring out why things happen and then stopping them.
Because whenever it's convenient, he's like, I don't know, I don't care. Then check. Whatever. It's like, poof. It's gonna really matter 5 seconds later when you have to explain the exact thing you're not checking in on.
Ow.
He also just doesn't understand how to explain a concept, like, from front to back, or convey information in a timely manner. He just, like, he brought Roswell here to tell him this thing, and then it was like a fight just to get him to even start explaining properly, because he was as ambiguous and out of order as possible, and was mostly just making Roswell narrow it down by listing all the things it isn't. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? Just say what you came to say.
I was almost scared to ask, drawing back from the sofa a little, but Thanatos knew to continue. Naturally, Memphis shows up, bombs in tow, doesn't even bother to use them. What does he do? Dominic and Jack show up, kill Tyson without him fighting back, still holding on to Dave. Orlando tries to get in the way of his dad and gets shot. Memphis torches the place with Hoss, Oswin, Benson, myself, and you still inside. What? What is the point? What is the point? Why is Dominic coming to kill all of them? Dominic was like, why did they stab Dave? I don't understand. You know, what was Memphis's plan?
Why do they burn down the place every time when their goal is to get the thing that's inside of it?
What is explicitly confusing to me is they're like, this'll get them to do something. We told them that they could go. We're gonna let them go, and now we're gonna have the thing. Actually, I'm just gonna stab Dave and send him back, and then we'll go there. We'll just follow him. We could have just taken him, but we'll follow him, and then we'll just kill them all, I guess.
So they just kill everyone, and this involves also killing Oz, which is the person they're trying to get information from. Yeah. And they burn down the mansion that has the thing they're trying to get inside of.
And also, Dominic was like actively trying to get us out. Like, it wasn't subtle. It wasn't like a double agent thing in a real sense. He literally was just like, yeah, kid, here's the exit. Get out of here. Just kidding. Guess we'll stab you. Bye. Like, I just don't.
There's also one combatant total. But for some reason, they always burn down the house. It's so baffling. They have no trouble shooting everyone individually, but for some reason they always need to burn the house down, which endangers their goal. And they killed Oswin, seemingly, which they also need. Just nothing makes sense ever. Also, this entire revelation we're going through right now ultimately amounts to Thanatos realizing that he shouldn't swap Dave and Roswell, which is a choice he made, separate from Roswell, which Roswell didn't know he was going to make. So this conversation doesn't change Roswell's perspective, because he never wanted to do that plan in the first place, and also doesn't know yet it's going to happen. So all this really needs to be is Thanatos realizes that this outcome is really bad, and he doesn't do it. But instead we have like hours of conversation about nothing for a decision that isn't even, like, it's not Roswell coming up to gaining new information and making a different choice, because the information just amounts to, oh, don't do the thing that I never was going to do anyway because Thanatos did it in the first place. It's such a mess.
And Sal?
I don't know. Don't know. I go offline before I can get tabs on him. Last I saw, he was outside.
I wandered around to the sofa and collapsed onto it, running my hands over my face. So I need to be the one that goes in.
Well, that's not exactly the takeaway I would have suggested, but that is the take. That's exactly what you suggested earlier. What?
Our options are preventing Dave from going in, which removes that outcome from the board entirely. Or we engineer a set of circumstances that make him better armed for going out there to begin with.
Without knowing how things played out, we'd be guessing. And iterative testing takes, well, a really long time. I'll do it if you really want me to, though. Yes, that is your entire purpose. That is your purpose, Thanatos.
No, the goal should be less iterations the better. It'll be easier on you, easier on me in case it goes wrong. Just,
I don't know the solution. Want my input?
I'm not promising I'll follow it, but sure.
You going in is highly likely to end in your death.
I'm aware.
I don't think you do, Master.
I do.
Wait. I'm aware. I don't think you do. What?
Uh-huh.
My brain.
The grammar don't match.
It's not my body expiring. It's being killed at the hands of people much more violent, stronger, and healthy than I am. Wiles will not ensure my survival at any point.
But if you're dead, how can you save Dave?
I can't save Dave after I'm dead anyway. There's every chance at the moment I die a couple days past in a tragic accident I have no way of stopping. It happens to him instead.
You want to know what would probably be like a really good way to stop Memphis? Tell him that you hit a bunch of medals around the property. Let him do a scavenger hunt. Because it seems to just stop the rest of these characters dead in their tracks.
Medals?
So it's all meaningless. Then there's no answer to this problem you asked me to solve after all.
What?
That's not what I'm saying.
I'm saying that I can only affect their here and now. I can make the best use of my life to give someone else a better one, even if for a little bit longer. It just doesn't seem fair.
Life isn't fair.
It never is. So I just have to watch you die. We get the point that Dave survives, and that's it. We make the prime timeline and repeat ad infinitum.
There's no other option, is there?
I thought you liked to gamble. Was that part of his character?
I have no idea.
Within reason.
Then get Osmond to conduct his own experiment. Make him mix up a cure and I'll remember the notes for him. Use me to save your life rather than Dave's.
You've heard it from yourself. There isn't a cure.
But there might be.
I went to reply, but instead found my mouth tightening in a grimace and eyes dropping away.
I knew there was a possibility, or was once a possibility.
Not anymore. Not in order for this path to even exist.
I knew that pointing out that sample was a bad idea.
It wasn't just that you pointed it out. The closer I am to death, the more vivid my resonations are. The less I need you to just have them happen.
No, you misunderstand, Roswell. You have a rat that can make you resonate. You don't need to... It's not a problem to rely on him. He's a tool. He's a dinner bell you ring when you want dinner. What are you talking about, Roswell?
This line is insane.
I didn't expect you to inject yourself with a Cryptococcus neoformans sample.
He literally injected himself with a thing to make himself die faster or something? So
yeah,
that
to make his resonations better.
Once again, we knew this the whole game.
Correct.
We've always known that whatever that was, Roswell injected himself with it, and we've just been screaming because the game won't even let you acknowledge that, and Dave just forgets about it, and everyone blames Dave for it, but then Dave, who clearly should be asking Roswell about this, just never brings it up, because it's all tied to when Roswell disappeared into the woods at the beginning of the game. That's when this all happened, and we knew it immediately. It wasn't sneaky at all.
Yeah.
Ugh. Vindication, at least, I guess.
But it did work.
Treating me for meningitis symptoms is easy enough for Oz as well, though a body-wide fungal infection alongside whatever degenerative genetic anomaly is happening with me.
Well, one of those was by choice, if you hadn't done that. You could just knock him out and give him visions, you idiot, you stupid idiot. You've done it before.
Then Dave would have likely died already. There was never an option to not go through with it if we didn't want to keep repeating those mistakes.
I disagree, but there's no point in stopping it now. I want to know what happens if we go back to the start of the game and put in the code Florencia and just see what occurs. Or like whatever the code, whatever day it was. Like, that's what I want, is
So the plan?
keep Dave alive. Great.
And to do that,
You tell me, master.
I'm going to go set things up that Dave under no circumstances goes into the woods. Then later, I'll go in with Oz.
And I'm just meant to watch.
Yes, I need you to watch so that if things go bad after I'm in the woods, you can tell me the next time we hit this point.
And if I just never tell you about Dave's death?
Then you're trapped repeating this over and over and over and over without end.
This isn't fair.
I just told you life isn't fair. What choice do we have?
There's another option. What if we just leave? Let them die. Let them all die. But we just pivot into stopping anyone else from getting access.
You mean like Memphis?
Think about it. He's programmed in. What happens if he gets access to the vault? Why is he programmed in again? I still don't get this. I still don't get this plot detail.
I don't know why Memphis is in.
I don't know.
Imagine what could happen if a megalomaniacal gun-toting beast got the ability to see his own mistakes. What damage he could do. Except explicitly, he can't see his own mistakes. He's unable to feel trauma. And you can't see your own death, so he just can't use it.
No,
this is an explicit plot line.
He's also too stupid to understand what it does.
Grizz, you wrote this. You can't unwrite this. You need to rewrite the story if you do something like this. This doesn't make sense. And communicating this to the audience is dumb.
It's also like, what if we leave and just pivot to... He said leave, right? Am I crazy?
Yeah. No, he said leave.
Yeah, we just leave. There's a few things there. Like, one, as far as I can tell, Thanos can't leave.
Yeah.
But also, what if we leave, let everyone die, and there's pivot to preventing access? How are you preventing access by leaving?
Yeah.
Also, what do you mean pivot to preventing access? Isn't Roswell still dying in a few days?
Yes, and Roswell doesn't care about preventing access. Like, the goal here is not to prevent access. The goal is to save his friends.
Like, I know that
what
Thanos
a waste
is
of
on some
fucking time.
level, like, bargaining or whatever, but nothing he's saying makes any sense, and I can't even, like, really grasp what he's going for most of the time. So it's
Keith,
just
instead of
more
playing
dialogue.
Password, what if I became an astronaut and went to the moon? Have you considered that? Why is no one talking about this?
That'd be pretty hype.
It's just, this is so stupid. I want to throw myself off a bridge. Next.
He came over and sat in my lap, squirming his way into a comfortable position and in turn making me rest back in a half slouch.
That's what we risk by doing all this. We save Dave, and then what? You die. We somehow make the timeline prime, but what good does it do if it ends with Memphis in control? Well, by definition, it's not prime, if that's what happens.
Has that happened yet?
No, not yet, but it's been close a few times.
What's been the deciding factor?
That he gets fed up and destroys the place, and with it, me.
But at the cost of everyone else too, no doubt.
Why did he make a rat the computer? Sorry, I don't remember if
such a strange detail.
Yeah, I can't remember why that was established. I think it might have been talked about, but like I still don't get why the rat is the computer. You don't need me to confirm that for you. Just know that we're in so much danger. It's not funny. No, it's not. It's Roswell's friend. Thanatos was made though, and the vault was made by Oswin. So but who was phone, Keith? Who was phone? It's stupid. I hate it.
I never said it was hilarious. Just tell me that I made the right choice.
I don't think I'm quite built for right or wrong calculations. I just do as I'm told. And then if you do what you're told, open the fucking door to the vault, you stupid bitch. What the fuck? Ah! And then you told me to save your friends.
It really is just noise. They're dodging, making any sense, and there's padding.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm built for right or wrong calculations. It's like, dude, you observe all the different outcomes and you find the one that works finally. That's the whole point.
That is a right or wrong calculation. Exactly. Yeah. That's a statistical analysis. He's literally a probability machine. Like, come on.
So if I never asked,
then I'd be stuck watching this vacation play out over and over, watching you all die and it ending in that fire.
Great. I picked him up and sat him back on my shoulder, going to the door to the room. You said that the last loop Dave died, right? If things are playing out the same way, what do I tell Sal as far as a plan?
Tell him a lie. Say that I told you it works out fine if they take the road, but they need to wait until the house starts burning before crossing the gap. Oh yeah, the road that blew up that no one can cross until they can conveniently cross it.
They're just gonna go. They're just gonna go. But they have to wait, but they for some reason have to wait for the road to start burning?
And he'll believe that?
For the house to start burning? Why?
He'll believe you. Whether or not he acts on it is another thing, but he won't question if you're lying. He'll question if I'm lying, but once you assure him that I'm not, we're good to go.
And Tyson?
That's where things get tricky. Just be honest.
Honest about?
What you want. Mention Dave, and the simpleton will listen.
All right, time to go then. I'll drop you off in the basement. You'll go and do something?
Maybe go spy on Dave and Orlando upstairs. Maybe go check in with Benson or Oswin. I don't know. I'll figure it out.
I think it's time for a break.
Yeah. My pulse is destroyed. I
can't believe how much text it took to get here.
If you took me to the hospital right now, they would declare me dead on the spot. I am in pain from this.
Womp womp.
Thanks for watching.
Bye, everybody.
Prisoners.
Victims.